Today I'll just be briefly covering how secret letters seem to work and where the pity happens. There will be stats and some other stuff, so if you like to, you can just skip to the TLDR down below in the timestamp. All resources shown on screen will be credited below, and majority of this video's content was taken from a Reddit thread. There will be a lot of stats being shown on screen, but I'll do my best to explain in a way that is digestible and easy to understand. Maybe. Firstly, let's clear up the misunderstanding that covert missions have a base 10% chance of a golden tier reward. A correct translation from the CN version of the game shows us that instead of a base 10% chance, it is a consolidated probability, so more like an average 10% drop rate. What is an average? I'm unsure myself actually. What this 10% average is based off on, but it might have to do with the pity that we'll talk about in a bit. So now you're probably wondering, so what is the odds of getting the gold tier reward from covert missions? Well, we'll be going through some data recorded down by jandamic. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name, I'm so sorry. We'll mostly be focusing on the gold graph on the right, which shows an obvious trend in some likelihoods. Firstly, we can see that among 341 runs, that the first 2 runs are unlikely to produce a single gold reward. While onwards from 5 runs, the likelihood of a goal has a great chance of happening. I wish it showed the chance of getting the drop for 2 thoughts, but we'll move on from here. An official Discord of Duet Night is going by Queen, seeming like a moderator and an admin for the official Discord, having some ties to Pencil themselves. She shares with us that the pity for goals are individual firstly, and that it happens at 20, as well as reset when you manage to get an early gold drop. So example, you're farming for different weapons and you're worried about the pity being affected, you can ease your mind, truthfully, knowing that, it doesn't really matter as long as you don't hit, honestly it doesn't really matter. Each pity is counted individually for each weapon and character and wedges, so none of it really matters unless you are worried, which I wouldn't really know why, but Now what we can do with all this information? Well, from what it seems from the graph alone and several other users sharing their own findings, it seems that drop rate is a bell curve that ranges from 6 to 12 runs with the highest odd of hitting gold. So it's less of a pure luck system and more of a bell curve. That as well as silver 2 dots rewards, those tier 2 that gives you 2 fragments technically, those are unaffected by it, so which results in most people averaging around 20 plus letters for a character. Though entirely possible, the worst case scenario is that you somehow miss every 2 dots reward and have to purely get the gold, which would mean you have to hit, what, 60 runs to get it? So, hopefully not. But if you do in fact end up having to do, 60 runs, it would be nice if you could share. It's rather fascinating how bad of a luck you must have, but that's kind of crazy in itself, isn't it? A small theory of mine is that as of now, it seems there has to be some sort of soft lock or like check that prevents you to get a level of unluckiness that might lead to just having your mind broken by how unlucky you are. Because if you haven't realized, it feels like you always somehow finish your character by within like 20 or 30 runs or so. So that's a plus, I guess, but I might be entirely wrong. With all this information now, it explains why most players get their weapon blueprint by the 9th or 11th run, while, there are some people that push all the way to 20. But yeah, I've also heard that several people have been unable to craft their weapons for really long. Okay, not a long time, but it does push them past the pity at some stages where they just can't seem to get the tier 2 reward for their last weapon fragment material, my bad. I think gold being a soft pit, okay, it's not really a soft pit, but just a straight up pity is not that bad actually, but there are cases where you can just miss out entirely on the 2nd tier reward for the weapon. That's it. I hope this helps you understand how the reward chances are for goals during covert missions, as well as dispelling any curiosities you may have when it comes to the drops. So let's just do a little TLDR. gold reward pity during covert missions happens at 20 and resets back to 0 if you trigger it early before 20. Silver rewards that give you 2 thoughts are unaffected by these odds. There's a probability bell curve that ranges around 6 to 12 runs with the highest odds of hitting the gold reward. You are also most likely to have 30 thoughts for a character around 20 to 30 runs. All secret letter odds are the same regardless of weapon, character and demon wedges. That said, the pity is also counted individually, so you don't have to worry about that part. I hope this video has helped you ease your curiosities. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave them down below. Once again, if you're looking for a community to talk about Duet Night Abyss, my Discord will be down below in the description. Somewhere there, I think. Thank you so much for watching. A subscribe or like would be much appreciated and truly brighten my day. Well, till then, I'll see you next time. Jandamic.